Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Tales of Herding Gods based on novel. So let's start. In Eternal Peace capital city, Qin Mu was examining the true god stone statue which had tunneled out from underground. 3 months had passed since the crisis of high heavens. During that time, everyone who had been injured had undergone treatment. With apothecary taking care of them personally, everyone recovered pretty fast. Hermit Qin Mu returned to Little Jade capital, but he would come back from time to visit everyone. Rat Immortal and Fox Immortal brought Willow Immortal, Yellow Immortal, and White Immortal's ashes back to Willow Prefecture. King Kuan and Queen Yi brought Shen Shengwu's tortoise shell to the Black Tortoise people overseas, sending him back to his clan. Elder of Discipline also brought over young patriarch's ashes, burying them under the sacred tree. Qin Mu had personally sent Old Dao Master's corpse to Dao Sect while Old Ma welcomed Old Rulai's corporeal body back to Great Thunderclap Monastery, inviting him into 10,000 Buddha's pagoda. Tuxing Feng was also among the casualties, but he had buried himself and his opponent deep in the magma underground. Hermit Qin Mu took a trip underground and saw a woman that was almost as tall as Tuxing Feng and who was his widow. She paid her respects at where Tuxing Feng had died in battle and said to Qin Mu, "Earth travelers will never go back on the promise made back then. When Human Emperor summons us again, there will still be men to come and join you." After the battle, God Broken Mountain Range had vanished and the darkness had invaded Eternal Peace Empire. Qin Mu went to check on the flag he had stabbed into the ground and saw that the darkness was not spreading. That made him more or less at ease. As for the huge hole that was blown in God Broken Mountain Range by Earthquake Cauldron, it had still not vanished. The situation in the other world could still be seen. The devils in that world were busy preparing something once more. The stone statues moving around the ruins of God Broken Mountain Range would show up from time to time, and there were devils frequently popping out from somewhere. Imperial Preceptor had ordered the college scholars of all lands to go there for experience. They were to get rid of the scattered devils that popped out, which resulted in many adventurers there every day. The devils from the other world found it very hard to regain their power. Everything in Eternal Peace Empire returned back to normal, and the commotion caused by the stone statues and abnormal treasures slowly died down. However, the huge and majestic true god statues still stood upright like mountains. They didn't vanish. The stone statue in front of Qin Mu was one of them. It stood tall and upright, overlooking the capital city in front of it. The stone statue was so tall that even if it couldn't move, it still attracted many foolish people to pay respect to it and offer incense. Qin Mu raised his head to examine it. His thoughts were like the clouds in the sky, gathering and dispersing. "You know it, these stone statues will revive and destroy the world sooner or later," said Xu Shenghua, and Qin Mu turned around. He saw the youth who was about his age carrying his luggage. Jing Yang followed beside him, and she also carried a tiny bag. Xu Shenghua came to his side and examined the stone statue. The natural disaster did not come and the fate of humankind will continue. There will still be war. Even if you prevented high heavens from doing their task, there will still be numerous people dying every day, and they will be used as sacrifices by the god statues. One day, they will accumulate enough power to awaken, destroying this world. Qin Mu continued to examine the stone statue with a calm expression. "I know, Imperial Preceptor knows, and Village Chief also knew it, but we had no choice but to do that. The longer we drag this out, the stronger Eternal Peace will become. In the past, we didn't have the power to fight back, so it was easy for them to crush us, but given enough time, we can grow until the difference between us won't be so vast." Village Chief felt this way, and Imperial Preceptor felt that way too. He looked toward Xu Shenghua and revealed a pure smile. "As long as we live, there's hope, isn't there?" His smile was very infectious, and Xu Shenghua couldn't help smiling as well. Jing Yang felt a weird feeling rising in her heart. Xu Shenghua was an abnormally serious person and rarely smiled, yet every time he met Qin Mu, he would be infected by him. Heavenly Devil Cult Master really possessed abnormal magic. Xu Shenghua took out a bag of money and smiled. "I've come here to pay back the debt and also to take my leave. This is the money I owe you." As I return it to you, I'm also saying my farewell. Qin Mu was slightly stunned. He took the money back and said, Brother Shu earns money pretty fast, eh? Xu Shenghua smiled. I had taken a big job. The spirit weapons I forged gained some reputation, so when the Emperor summoned all the able craftsmen in the world to restore mysterious pearl crossbows, I had gone as well. At that time, only I was able to restore it and offer a blueprint to the army, thus the Emperor rewarded me with a big sum of money. When do you plan to go? Qin Mu asked. Xu Shenghua tightened the strap of his luggage and walked away with Jing Yang toward the dock. I came to Eternal Peace to kill you. After that, I was supposed to return to high heavens to continue cultivating in silence. However, after meeting you, I felt that journeying through Eternal Peace was a better training for my frame of mind. Qin Mu followed him. The dock was very far, and the two of them were starting to walk differently. They were contesting in secret again. After improving my Tao heart, I have obtained numerous comprehensions I have never thought possible before. However, my training has ended, it's time for me to leave Eternal Peace. Xu Shenghua raised his head to look at the sky and said, There are still many unsolved mysteries in my heart waiting for my attention. I need to find the answers to those mysteries. The gods of high heavens have practically all died, so why aren't you returning to high heavens? Now that there's no leader, you should go back to take charge of the general situation. I'm not going back, Xu Shenghua said. High heavens is known under such a name, but it's merely a void. The people there can't make their own decisions and can't lead their own lives, they are just the dogs of true gods. As a flower blooming from the void, I need to find my own path. Brother Qin, my training in Eternal Peace has ended, and I want to go to great ruins to find the answers to the secrets that still elude me. What about your training? Qin Mu was stunned, but he suddenly smiled. My training has just begun. They walked more and more weirdly, and stumbled all the way to the dock. When they reached it, the two of them smacked their palms out and the waves in the river suddenly overflowed into the sky. Wind rose and clouds surged as lightning crisscrossed in the surroundings. Qin Mu laughed loudly and grabbed the other's palm tightly. Their shoulders collided. The two of them let go, and Xu Shenghua brought Jing Yang aboard the ship. He turned his head back and smiled. I've lost to you the previous time, and it's going to stay with me all the time. When I return, let's see who is the Alpha and Beta Overlord bodies. Qin Mu smiled. You are definitely the Beta and I'm the Alpha. Xu Shenghua laughed loudly and waved his hand before leading Jing Yang into the hold of the ship. Qin Mu raised his head as the flying ship gradually rose, bringing them far away and vanishing into the clouds. The radiant sun was dazzling and Qin Mu looked away, his gaze returning to the stone statue that overlooked the capital. There were numerous foolish people offering incense and prayers to it, hoping that it would bless them. No one knew the deeds of the benevolent, they were nameless. Village chief, Tuxing Feng, and the rest had died to save these people, yet no one knew and no one offered them incense and prayers. On the other hand, the stone statues which had come to destroy the world were surrounded by incenses. How ironic. Xu Shenghua was right, the people of Eternal Peace Empire will be born, will grow old, will get sick, and will die. They will all become sacrifices to the stone statues and allow the true gods to accumulate power until they can revive themselves. Qin Mu walked toward the capital. The fierce fight over God-broken mountain range and the lives of numerous strong practitioners were merely just to drag out the time. Sooner or later, the stone statues would awaken from the sacrifices of the foolish people and use their power to wipe out the whole mortal realm. What I need to do is to make Imperial Preceptor's reform become even more spread. The fire has to burn even more fiercely in the hot oil. We shall await the day these stone statues awaken. It was time for Imperial College to choose Imperial scholars again. The selection was very great in scale. Tens of thousands scholars from the whole world had hurried to the capital. The Emperor and Imperial Preceptor had personally come to Imperial College. There was also Daoistlin Shen of Dao Sect, Rulai Ma of Great Thunderclap Monastery, Hermit Qingyu of Little Jade Capital, and Qin Mu as Heavenly Devil Cult Master as well. Emperor Yangfeng saw that there were too many scholars flooding into Imperial College and suggested to open other academies to split the responsibility of Imperial College. He founded River Tomb Academy, Surging River Academy, Lee River Academy, and Heavenly Saint Academy. The scholars from all lands could take examinations for the 4 big academies. They choose their people to learn paths, skills, and divine arts, and those who succeeded in their studies would later be able to enter the imperial court or become officials. Heavenly Devil Cult had taken the name Heavenly Saint Academy, and as the cult master, Qin Mu became the first Grand Chancellor, which promoted him to the 4th rank. For such a matter, Qin Mu worked hard for a time to set Heavenly Saint Academy at the manor where Granny Sai lived. Only when it was scorching summertime was Heavenly Saint Academy prepared. All kinds of educational establishments were built and talents from all over the land attracted. The disciples of Heavenly Devil Cult School Hall became the first batch of Heavenly Saint scholars. Qin Mu also invited Xiong Shiyu and Yu Jiaoqing to come and teach. He also asked Dao Master Lin Xian, Rulai Ma, Hermit Qing Yu, and Fox Immortal to come to hold lectures from time to time, which made Heavenly Saint Academy truly extraordinary. On that day, Imperial Preceptor came to visit and asked, Grand Chancellor's Heavenly Saint Academy is pretty bustling and energetic. Qin Mu smiled. Heavenly King doesn't visit me without a cause, so what are you here for this time? Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor paused for a moment before saying, I'm preparing to wipe out high heavens, but I need to scout the roads of West Earth first. I need a person who is familiar with West Earth. Qin Mu was slightly stunned, but he soon called Xiong Shiyu. Does Palace Master want to reclaim True Heaven Palace of West Earth? Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor went straight to the point. Xiong Shiyu was surprised and delighted. True Heaven Palace has been seized by traitors, so does Imperial Preceptor have confidence in assisting me in snatching it back? Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor nodded and said, I want to take a trip to High Heavens to prevent future troubles. High Heavens is in West Earth, so I can help you reclaim True Heaven Palace on the way. Qin Mu's heart moved slightly as he looked towards Xiong Shiyu. She gritted her teeth and said, after Eternal Peace raises the snow plains and the prairie, he will launch his army on West Earth sooner or later. For there to be fewer wars, I'm willing to submit to Eternal Peace. In that case, Palace Master can go prepare, we will set off in the next few days. Does Cult Master want to go? We'll be going to West Earth not for war, but to scout the way, and Cult Master can help. Qin Mu hesitated for a moment as Xiong Shiyu looked at him pleadingly. He then smiled and said, it's good to go to West Earth as well. I have a promise with Poisoner Mu Yingxue, who had asked me to find her. However, before that, I need to summon some souls in great ruins. Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor was slightly stunned, then nodded. In that case, Palace Master and I will set off first. If you meet that person, thank him for me and do pay half of the respect owed a master. Qin Mu nodded. Qin Mu was the Grand Chancellor of Heavenly Saint Academy, so before he left, he handed over his duties to another person. Most of the scholars of Heavenly Saint Academy were from Heavenly Devil Cult as well as numerous directorates. Even if Qin Mu wasn't there, there would be no problem, so he had no worries. He passed dragon-rearing scriptures to Sai Yunxiang to find people to take care of the flood dragons. They only eat spirit pills, but different breeds want different kinds of spirit pills, Qin Mu instructed. I have written down the types and the amount needed, Saintess, don't forget, if they don't listen to you, find Linga. She can subdue these flood dragons. Sai Yunxiang smiled. With dragon-rearing scriptures, how can I be inferior to the little fox? Aren't you going to bring a few flood dragons to protect yourself? Isn't the little fox following you too? Linga went to learn spells from Fox Immortal, so she won't be going with me. I'm just going to West Earth to scout the land, so there won't be any danger. Qin Mu gave a few more instructions and took leave from Granny Sai and the rest. Just as he was prepared to have the dragon Chilean start on the journey, he saw a 5 to 6 years old girl sitting beside it. Sister Chia, aren't you going to West Earth with Nai Kuei? Qin Mu asked with puzzlement. Xiong Chia shook her head. Mother told me to follow you. She doesn't really trust Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor, that he doesn't have a human touch. He can sacrifice everything just to achieve his goal, and he's made it hard for her to trust him. Your mother sure is thoughtful. It's good to follow me as well. Imperial Preceptor and her objective this time are quite great, so it'll be much safer for you to follow me instead. Qin Mu picked Xiongqia up and jumped onto the dragon Chilene's back. Fatty dragon, set off. The dragon Chiline immediately sprung forward and rose into the air with the fire clouds. Cult Master, I keep feeling that the taste of Scarlet Fire Spirit pills is wrong these days. Did you change them? Qin Mu shook his head. Fatty dragon, stop being paranoid. If I changed the spirit pills, could you not taste the difference? The dragon Chiline was skeptical while Xiongqia said in astonishment, Fatty dragon is much faster compared to last time. Your tummy isn't as big as before too. Her suspicion increased the suspicion in the dragon Chiline's heart. Although he had peeled open the spirit pills every time he ate them to see if Qin Mu had done something, he hadn't found anything out of the ordinary. Qin Mu smiled. He had improved Scarlet Fire Spirit pills and Fire Element Divine Vitality pills. The taste was almost the same as that of Scarlet Fire Spirit pills, just a little bit spicier. The dragon Chiline could taste something wrong, but he couldn't tell what it was. The dragon Chiline's speed was much faster than it was in the past, and his endurance was much greater as well. After 2-3 days, they reached Great Ruins. Qin Mu found Moon Ship according to his memory, and village chief's stone statue was not far from it. Qin Mu couldn't help being astonished when he saw 2 families actually having built themselves homes there. The 2 families had to have noticed the stone statue that could withstand the darkness and had come to live by its side. When they saw Qin Mu riding a monster that looked like a dragon but was not a dragon, a Chiline that was not a Chiline, they couldn't help becoming nervous. 2 young hunters took up military pitchforks and stood guard outside the door while their young wives looked out from behind them. Qin Mu stopped and brought Xiongqia off the dragon Chiline's back. He greeted the 2 people and the 2 hunters returned it. Are you a mountain bandit or a robber? I'm just a passerby, coming to see my old friend. Don't worry, I mean no harm. Qin Mu came to stand in front of village chief's stone statue and placed a livestock offering. This is the elder of my family and I'm here to pay my respects to him. If he saw that his broken body could still protect you guys, he would definitely be very happy. He paid his respects and executed Soul Guide. The clouds instantly turned dark and gloomy while the darkness surged. Soul Guide worked for a moment and numerous skeletons appeared outside the village, but village chief's stone statue did not come to life. Not long later, Qin Mu's magic power was nearly exhausted. He was about to disperse Soul Guide when village chief's stone statue suddenly moved and spat out a few gold coins while speaking, Mua, on Ghost Festival, the night of the full moon, I'll be waiting for you at the gates of hell. When he finished talking, he returned back to stone. Qin Mu picked up the golden coins which were 8 Fengdu coins. The villagers in the surroundings were bewildered. Qin Mu turned around to thank the people and left them some money. May everyone here help me clean the stone statue frequently so it wouldn't get dirty. When he was done, he turned around to leave. The people looked at his back, and a young woman suddenly woke up from her daze. She suddenly cried out, look at the appearance of that youth, doesn't he look like that heavenly god who drove the ship that night? He indeed looks alike. When that huge ship passed by our village that night, I saw that heavenly god on the ship, and it looked exactly like him, another woman cried out in astonishment. Don't talk nonsense. He's merely a youth and is even younger than us, so how could he be the heavenly god of that ship, a hunter said. Qin Mu brought Xiongqia to the dragon Chiline and they rode to the west, resting only during night time. They passed by the basin of West Heaven Palace and observed its ruins before leaving. After 10 or so, they finally came to the most western part of Great Ruins. There was also a mountain range, its snowy white peaks cutting off Great Ruins, in that direction. There's also a god-broken mountain range here. Qin Mu rode the dragon Chiline to one peak, and a thick arrow that was like a beam suddenly came from a mysterious pearl crossbow, raising the wind and snow in a split second. The dragon Chiline raised his claws and caught that arrow. At that, he couldn't help jumping in shock and crying out, Cult Master, I've become stronger. Qin Mu looked at the surroundings and saw huge mysterious pearl crossbows operating automatically, adjusting their direction. He then immediately shouted, "Fatty dragon, run quickly!" Twang! The power of the mysterious pearl crossbows burst forth, and heavy snow came incessantly along with the bolts. The dragon Qilin immediately leaped as though he was flying, sprinting to the other side of the mountain. Incomparably thick bolts whisked behind them and transformed into pillars of ice while more of them came shooting over. The dragon Qilin gave a loud roar and the flames behind him overflowed into the sky. With the dense fire clouds, the flames burned the bolts. However, there were still numerous ice bolts that had not melted and rushed straight for them. While clutching a sword technique in his hand, Qin Mu jolted, and 8,000 swords flew into the sky, slicing countless ice bolts apart. The dragon Qilin sprinted down the mountain, and bolts behind him were like the rain. Only when he rushed down the mountain did the onslaught stop. Qin Mu let out a sigh of relief before heat waves assaulted him in the face. He looked forward and saw a vast desert which went as far as his eyes could see. The flames in the desert were blazing, burning the sky till tea turned fire red. Qin Mu turned back, seeing the snowy mountains behind himself. After crossing this flaming desert, we will reach West Earth, Xiong Chia said in a loud and clear voice. West Earth is right behind it. Qin Mu was puzzled. Why is there such a flaming desert between West Earth and Great Ruins? Where does the fire come from? My mother said that these flames were lit up by gods to block the abandoned people of Great Ruins from running out. Xiong Chia suddenly jumped into the flames, shocking Qin Mu. She ran around them with a smile. The flames here won't hurt me, for they will only burn the abandoned people of Great Ruins. To us, the flames aren't hot at all, however, to the abandoned people of Great Ruins, the fire is extremely dangerous. I've heard my mother say that if the abandoned people of Great Ruins were to enter the desert, flame markings would appear on the heart of their brows, showing their identity as an abandoned person. The higher the status of the abandoned person, the more flames would show up. Qin Mu stretched out his hand to touch the flames and he felt a sharp pain. He immediately pulled his hand back, but his fingertips were still burning. He hurriedly extinguished the fire and frowned. The flaming desert was indeed an incomparably dangerous place to the people of Great Ruins. If they went in, they would definitely be burned to death. Chia, come up. Qin Mu's vital qi flew out and swept up the girl which was running around, throwing her onto the dragon Qilin's back. Imperial Preceptor and Palace Master left a few days earlier than us, so we can't stay around here for long, fatty dragon. Big brother, what happened to your face? Xiong Chia suddenly asked. Qin Mu looked at her with bewilderment. What's wrong with my face? There are many markings on your face. Xiong Chia cried out in astonishment. The markings are even wiggling and more of them are coming out. Are you sick? That's right, Big Brother is an abandoned person of Great Ruins, but there are just too many flame markings on your face. In disbelief, Qin Mu located the mirror apothecary had given to him in a hurry. He took a look at and saw that there were indeed numerous green and red markings on his face. They were twisted but distributed evenly across his face. He ripped open his collar and saw numerous green and red markings on his chest as well. He stretched out his palm and saw that the markings were even on his wrist, slowly spreading to the back and front of his palm. Qin Mu threw open his shirt and more mirrors flew out from his Daotai sack. He looked at them and saw numerous markings spreading all over him. His whole body was covered in green and red flames. Xiong Chia looked at him in a daze, staring at his bare torso as he stood on the back of the dragon Qilin. The flames had nearly covered his whole body. Mother said that the higher the status of the abandoned person, the more flames will appear on their body. Normal abandoned people will only receive one flame marking at the heart of their brows, but Big Brother has flame markings all over his body. The little girl was stunned. What is his status? Could this be the effect of the fire? Qin Mu pondered over it and said, I touched the flames just now and they had entered my body to form these strange markings. Fatty dragon, retreat back to the snowy mountains. The dragon Qilin didn't understand what he meant, but he still carefully retreated out of the flaming desert. Back under the snowy mountains, Qin Mu looked at the mirrors and saw that the markings were gradually dimming. When he reached the foot of one mountain, the markings vanished completely. While keeping the mirrors at hand, he put on his shirt back. He said indifferently, "Fatty dragon, continue on your way. It's fine. These markings should be just to identify abandoned people." The dragon Qin immediately rushed into the flaming desert, and the markings on Qin Mu's body started to appear again. They grew frantically, but the youth didn't pay attention to them. The sight of the flaming desert was unique. There were flaming tornadoes everywhere, and they whooshed as they swept by the group. The dragon Qin's nature was that of fire, so he loved to control fire the most and often rushed happily into the tornadoes. However, Qin Mu was nearly burned to death once and ordered for him to stop. The dragon Qin saw his face turning black from the burns and jumped back in shock. Only then did he obediently start to hurry to their destination. The fire had no effect on him, but it possessed lethal power against Qin Mu. "Big brother, there's an oasis in front," Xiong Chia said excitedly. "There's water there." Astonished, Qin Mu cried out, "There is water in such a place." He then saw the oasis in the flaming desert. Numerous olive trees were growing beside a beautiful lake, and there were also a few snow-white goatskin tents beside it. The dragon Qin immediately ran over to the side of the lake. Qin Mu jumped down and said, "Visitors have come from afar, sorry for disturbing everyone." One of the goatskin tents opened up and a youth walked out with a smile. "You're not disturbing. I'm currently cultivating unique spells and need someone as a sacrifice." "It's you, brat." The expression of the youth changed drastically, and Qin Mu pulled out his sword without any explanation. 8,000 swords flew up together and drowned out the youth. That youth's reaction was extremely fast. He moved back the instant Qin Mu executed his swords, falling back into the goatskin tent. It was cut to pieces when countless sword lights shot out into it from all directions. Suddenly, they paused and tunneled into the ground like a long dragon, for the youth had escaped into the ground after falling back into the tent. Bang! About a mile away in the flaming desert, 8,000 flying swords flew out of the underground cave, chasing after the figure of the youth. He leaped into midair and opened up his arms. 2 golden wings spread out on his back and flapped frantically, causing countless yellow golden feather swords to face Qin Mu's sword lights. With the continuous collisions and sparks in midair, flying swords flew in all directions. Qin Mu's hand grabbed forward, and the randomly flying swords suddenly paused in midair. They converged towards the center and clanked as they collided, transforming into a 3-yard metal ball that was whirling non-stop. It was none other than Qin Mu's sword pellet. It was huge and whirled non-stop in midair. The feel of metal was abundant. A fire tornado swept over and swept up the youth, swallowing him whole. Yet the next moment, he appeared above that tornado and stood there while laughing. "Cult Master Qin. Human Emperor Qin. You really can't stop haunting me. Do you think I'll be afraid of your body covered whole by a tattoo? Receive one of my bow." That youth was none other than Gong, and he stood atop the tornado, paying his respects by bowing towards Qin Mu. When he bowed, a sinister sacrificial altar appeared behind him and a devil god showed up on it, ready to bow and pay his respects as well. Qin Mu's 5 fingers spread open and he pressed down with them. The ground under the fire tornado instantly warped, the sand and rocks swirling and swallowing everything above them into the ground. Gong's footing became unstable and his bow became misshapen. When he raised his head, he saw that the sword pellet had separated at some point and the 8,000 swords were spinning crazily. They were like a huge mouth that was covered with sword tips that came with an open mouth toward him. It was spiral sword form. Stabilizing mountains and rivers with a finger. For continuous explosions rang out within Gong's body as his divine treasures opened and his magic power rose exponentially. When his left hand pointed toward the ground, a fire lotus bloomed underground, stabilizing it. His right hand pointed toward the huge mouth that was going to swallow him and flaming lotuses instantly appeared in it as well. Those flaming lotuses collided with the spiraling swords and blocked Qin Mu's move. Gong revealed a scornful look. Cult Master Qin, I'm already on 7 stars realm. I'm a realm higher, which might as well be a heaven higher. I can totally overwhelm you. Do you feel my magic power making you despair? Suddenly, the fire lotuses shattered and Pan Gongso was astonished. His magic power doesn't lose out to mine at all. I'm already on 7 stars realm. How could he have polished his magic power to such a level? As an existence that had reincarnated over 10 times, Pan Gongso might not dare to say he was number 1 in polishing his magic power on the same realm, but he was certainly one of the best in the world. There were not many people who could surpass the density of his magic power in the same realm. Even when Qin Mu did it, he hadn't surpassed him by much. He had fought with Qin Mu numerous times in the past. The first time, both of their realms were the same. They were both on 6 directions realm and their magic power had been nearly the same. Qin Mu relied on the transformation of paths, skills, and divine arts to lead him along the way, adapting accordingly. This let him take the decisive opportunity, which was why Pan Gongso had lost. However, when they had faced off the second time, he had raised his cultivation realm faster than Qin Mu, and his magic power had also surpassed him by much. Qin Mu had then relied on his sickeningly huge sword pellet and 8,000 swords to be a match for him. Yet now, he was already a divine arts practitioner of 7 stars realm while Qin Mu was still on 6 directions realm. By right, Qin Mu should have been overwhelmed by his magic power, unable to even come close to breaking his divine art. Even though it was just their first face-off right then, Qin Mu's flying swords had still destroyed Pan Gongso's divine art. He might have relied on the sharpness of his flying swords, but it also meant that Qin Mu's magic power wasn't much inferior to his. When Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor had attacked Roland's Golden Palace, Pan Gongso had known that it was finished when Khan Rwandi surrendered. That was why he hadn't waited for Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor to attack and escaped, leaving behind all the great shamans, shaman kings, and even the Grand Shaman who didn't know he had escaped under the cover of the night. This video will end here.